This is a demonstration on how to create an object using the draw commands and some modify commands. So the first thing you want to do as you're creating any object is you want to take a look at that object. So if you want to open up the draw and modify commands PDF and look at that object, you will notice that we will be using the line command, and there's also some circles there, so we will be using the circle command as well. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my title block template that we created previously. Go ahead and open that up. And here is that template. I draw all of my objects in model space. So I'm going to click on the tab for model, and it doesn't matter where I start drawing because the space is infinite. We're going to use our viewport later to identify and locate that object on the title block. I can go ahead and start drawing anywhere. I'm going to take my cursor and bring it up to the line command, left click on that button. This will start the line command, and down here on the command line, and as well as next to my cursor, because my dynamic input right here on the status bar is on, you'll see information that will help guide me through my commands right there. So it says specify your first point. Well, because I don't care where my object is going to be start to be drawn, I can go ahead and left click and it will place my line down right there. Using dynamic input, I can go ahead and type in, and the line at the bottom, I'm going to draw the bottom portion of this object, is 3.5 units across. If I'm using dynamic input, what I can do is the number is highlighted in blue. I could type in there 3.5, hit the tab key, and then I give it an angle. If I'm going to go straight across, it's going to be a 0 angle. Hit enter, and there's my line straight across. I can also simplify this by coming over here to my status bar and finding this button. This is the ortho mode. It's the fourth from the left button on the status bar. If I turn that on, as I bring my lines across, it will default to 90 degrees. This line is going to be 2.75 units. I can go ahead and hit enter, because if I hit tab it's already going 90 degrees, and that draws the line right here. Bring it across. I can type the next distance, which is going to be 1.25. Hit enter. Down a distance of 0.625, hit enter. Across, now all I'm doing is moving my mouse and typing in a distance, because ortho is helping me make the lines go in the directions that I would like to draw them. 1.25 in this direction. Line up, 0.625, hit enter, and then across, 0.625, enter. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the option here for close. I can left click here in the command line and it will close up my object. Now because this is an object, it needs to go on the object layer. I can place it on there just like we did with the lines on the title block by highlighting those lines and then clicking on the object layer. Hitting escape to deselect those items. I can come here, click this drop down, and pick the object layer. Now if I hit escape, my object layer is current. Now I'm going to use some modifying tools. The first modifying tool is going to be our chamfer. If I float over this, what this does is we can select two lines, and given the distances to AutoCAD, AutoCAD will kind of lop off this corner, or if we took a pair of scissors, it makes this corner cut off. So I'm going to click on the chamfer. Down here I need to specify a distance. If I click that, you see that the default distance is 0. And looking at my drawing, I need a distance of 1 unit. Hit enter. Now it's asking me for my second distance. The default is 1. That is what I would like. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to select this line, left click, select this line, left click, and it creates that chamfer for me. Now to find my circles, I'm going to use another command, which is called the offset command. Here's the button for offset. I can go ahead and left click on offset, and it asks me first to specify the distance I'd like to offset. I'm going to offset this line down 0.5. So I type 0.5 and hit enter. Now I can pick the line, left click, pick to this side, left click again, and it drops that line. Hit enter to go ahead and finish the command. I'm going to hit enter again. That repeats my last command, but instead of 0.5, I'm going to go 0.625 in this direction. 0.625, enter, pick the line, pick to the side that I'd like to place, left click, and there is an intersection that I can place my circle. Now it just so happens that the distance from here down is 0.625, the same distance as it was from this side to this line. So I'm going to left click on this line, and it's going to repeat that command with the same distance. Hit enter to finish the command. To get the next line, I need to place, left click here, a line on this side of my object. Hit enter to finish the command. And I'm going to offset this line over, and then once I'm done with creating the circles, I will erase these extra lines. O, enter, is the hotkey for offset. I can go ahead and specify the distance, which is 1.5. Enter. Pick this line, pick to the side I'd like to place it, hit enter to finish. Now I can do a circle. I can come up here and left click on the circle command, or type C and enter. If I go ahead and left click on that circle, it asks me to specify the center point. As I float over my cursor over here, it's giving me this intersection, which is part of my object snaps. I can left click on that intersection, drag away, and it's asking me for the radius. Now if I don't have the radius but I have a diameter, I can left click on the diameter, and this is a diameter of 0.625. Hit enter. Hit enter again, which repeats the last command. Float over to where my smaller circle is going to be, and just so happens the intersection of these two lines is also the midpoint for this long line here. So I can left click there, drag away, and this time I do have the radius, 0.1875. Hit enter, finishes the command. Now I can select my extra lines, hit the delete button, and my object is now created. So that it can be placed on the title block, I need to come over to Layout 1 tab, left click. Here's my object way down here. So what I can do is I can double left click inside my viewport boundary. Double left click. You notice the viewport changes to a thicker line, and now if I double click my roller ball, it will zoom my object really large and fill up that area. Now I don't want it to be just any scale. I want this to print out at a scale of 1:1, or the true scale of this object, full size. So I come here to where my status bar is. This is called the viewport scale. If I left click on there, I get many different scale options. I'm going to pick 1:1. My object changes. If I needed to center it up at all, I can hold down my roller ball, which changes to the pan command, locate it in the middle of my drawing, and then to close my viewport, I can click on this model here, or you can double left click on the outside. Go ahead and click on the model. I need to change my text. I'm going to zoom up here so that you can see it a little bit better. Make sure my caps lock is on. Draw and modify commands. Click outside of the box to close that text box, and I can continue adding information if I needed to. Add today's date, drawing number if any, our class time, and then the class number. Hit enter to finish the command. Double click your roller ball, which will zoom out to show you your object. Now if you were going to print this, we can go ahead and come up to our plot command, and we can take a look at the plot. Since I'm not connected to a printer, I can go ahead and pick DWG to PDF. Find a paper size, extents, center the plot, 1:1, monochrome, landscape. When I preview it, it'll show you my object, and since I'm using an Autodesk educational product, that was the free version, it's going to have this stamp on the outside. For our drawings, this is not an issue. We are just using it for educational purposes, and we are not going to be using this for a business. And that is how you set up a drawing.